The medium of video games has always been perceived as a niche in the background of other media. With its unique interactive output in the form of combat, riveting narratives, and choice-based mechanics, gaming has grown to carve out its own successful space in the entertainment landscape. However, in recent times, an interest in merging the video game medium with film and television has developed, with video game adaptations becoming more popular each year as different film studios and showrunners try their hand at adapting video games onto the big screen. Although this has typically failed, resulting in what's called the video game curse, many gaming fans and media producers of these adaptations were left to wonder what went wrong. My research question, titled How Transmedia is Defining Video Game Adaptations for Film and Television, explores this by looking at three main points of impact that affect video game adaptations as a whole. They encompass transmedia commerciality, which looks at how commercial interests in the transmedia structure has impacted produced adaptations. Aesthetic diegesis and character portrayal across transmedia, including how the translation of the video game source material into film and television influenced adaptations in their respective transmedia worlds. And finally, how the role of transmedia fandoms shaped the adaptation's popularity and reception through participatory practices. In this video essay, I'll be looking at how these transmedia elements affect video game adaptations with game examples including Tomb Raider, Halo, and Persona 4. By looking at the impact of transmedia on adapted works, fans and media producers can better determine how future adaptations can make or break the video game curse. In the current media landscape, the merging of film and television with the video game medium offers many opportunities to both media executives and audiences. Video game adaptations can not only provide additional revenue streams for franchises, but also extend its narratives across multiple mediums, also known as transmedia storytelling. The concept of transmedia was first introduced by Henry Jenkins in his pioneering text, Convergence Culture. He defined it as a process where integral elements of a fiction get dispersed systematically across multiple delivery channels to create a unified and coordinated entertainment experience. By expanding a game's universe across multiple platforms, this provides both monetary gains and greater audience engagement for the franchise, increasing its longevity. This was true for the Tomb Raider franchise, a cult classic renowned for its iconic protagonist, themes of adventure, and its extensive transmedia expansion over different mediums. The franchise originally debuted in 1996 with Tomb Raider, an action-adventure game that introduced British archaeologist Lara Croft, who navigated ancient tombs while solving puzzles. As one of the first and oldest game franchises with a female lead, the game garnered critical and commercial acclaim, with Lara Croft becoming gaming's most prominent mascot. This rapid rise in popularity paved the way for expansion in other mediums such as film, including the release of the 2001 live-action film Lara Croft Tomb Raider, starring Angelina Jolie, grossing over $200,000 worldwide, with rave reviews from gaming fans and critics alike. The film revealed both a niche in video game adaptations and commercial potential for transmedia projects. In order to continue the revenue stream and revive the franchise 2 decades later, a reboot film titled Tomb Raider was released in 2016, featuring Alice Vikander as the eponymous heroine. Despite previous successes in the film medium, this adaptation failed to capture the same cultural and commercial impact as the 2001 film. With an uneventful plot filled with stereotypical tropes and the characterization of Lara falling flat, critics dubbed the film as a cash grab that besmirched the franchise by recycling the original concept for profit. Scholar Marie-Laure Ryan provides insight on capitalist attitudes and tensions between creativity and revenue for transmedia ventures. She frames industry discourse surrounding transmedia projects such as adaptations negatively, suggesting that media executives favor commercial endeavors over creative intent. Although video game adaptations thrive on the prospect of commerciality, success isn't guaranteed by franchise names alone. By sacrificing creativity for profit, audiences can reject adaptations and become disillusioned with the franchise altogether, which in turn affects its monetary standing. By ensuring that media executives strike a balance between artistry and financial gain, video game adaptations and its associated franchises can continue to become successful both commercially and critically. In video game adaptations, the aesthetics, narrative, and character portrayal, including how it's translated from the video game medium, is often the biggest quality that determines whether an adaptation is accepted or considered a failure by its audience. Encompassing mise-en-scène elements such as costume, iconography, and settings, these features are often judged based on whether they maintain fidelity to the source material and simultaneously adapt to the film and television medium. This was true for Halo, a television series produced by Paramount and based on the best-selling game series of the same name. Set in an alternate futuristic reality where humanity is at war with an alien enemy race called the Covenant, the story follows the origins of the genetically modified super soldier, Master Chief, the protagonist of the series. Although the show had a big budget and was visually stunning, it was considered a critical and commercial flop by its audience, who blamed the fact that the TV show did not follow the story from the games and butchered the continuity of its characters and settings as a result. For example, in the pilot episode of the show, titled Contact, Master Chief is seen taking his helmet off and helping a fugitive evade capture by the UNSC, the military body that he serves throughout the series. These actions were considered uncharacteristic for the typically stoic personality of the Master Chief in the video games, with fans pointing out how the further insult of Chief taking his helmet off, which never occurred in the games, was one of the biggest controversies of the show. Aside from character portrayal, the way in which diegetic settings and themes were physically portrayed throughout the series was also another contributor to its negative reception. Many viewers claimed that mise-en-scène elements such as a Spartan costume, weapons, and the human settlement locations were inconsistent to the Halo transmedial universe, further detracting from the quality of the show in comparison to the games. Video game scholar Jolene Blom recognized the affordances of translating video games onto the big screen. She stated that characters failed to be cross-media adapted to movies from games and vice versa because a player's avatar required affordances the new medium did not have. This quote also highlights Paramount's own struggles with translating Master Chief's character from the games into television alongside the aesthetics of the Halo universe. Though the show was considered an overall failure by its audience, it remains a cultural artifact that highlights the significance of the transmedia continuity across mediums for a successful video game adaptation. The influence of fandom and its impact on video game adaptations is often undermined, with their presence affecting the popularity and reception of many adapted works. As Henry Jenkins stated, fan expectations and participatory culture can shape an adaptation and its outcome, often leading to critical acclaim or intense scrutiny. Persona 4, a Japanese roleplay game developed by Atlus, is one example where fan support for the game was instrumental in shaping the adaptation's narrative and reception. Set in rural Japan, the plot follows high school protagonist Yu Narukami as he teams up with fellow students to solve a series of murders in their town, all whilst unlocking hidden powers that help them discover the truth. Despite originally being intended for a Japanese audience, the game earned unexpected popularity in the West as a result of intense fan activity. Viral meme compilations created by fans significantly boosted the game's standing, such as the hapless antics of Adachi, the detective that investigates the murders in the game. Along with fan art, game theories, and fanfiction, its distribution on sites such as YouTube and Reddit generated further discussion and relevancy for the game, inviting new players from different mediums to the Persona franchise. These grassroots activities amongst fans consequently affected the development of the anime adaptation titled Persona 4: The Animation. Released 3 years after the game, the series closely follows the events of the original narrative, with a few changes made in courtesy of its strong fandom. For example, in addition to Japanese, the show provided a localized English dub in acknowledgement of Western audiences that popularized the game, allowing them to follow the same story as the Japanese viewers. Furthermore, the actions of the protagonist in the adaptation, which reflected popular player choices in-game, was also directly influenced by fans. The decision to have the show's protagonist spend equal screen time with the rest of the cast allowed Atlus to playfully tease fan ships for all characters. These changes were made in order to appease fans and without making one love interest canon, and acknowledged by both game developers and showrunners of the franchise. Though the adaptation was produced in tandem with media producers, game developers Atlus effectively balanced fan opinions while helping to adapt the narrative to television, highlighting the synergy between transmedia fandoms and media productions. The effect of transmedia as a catalyst for video game adaptations is substantial for how it impacts its own production and reception. By examining factors that affect an adaptation's commerciality, its aesthetic appearance, and the role and influence of fandoms, the study of video game adaptations highlight the evolving creative ambitions surrounding adapted media, including how they'll impact franchises' legacy and reputation. As more adaptations are greenlit and grace the big screen, the transmedia relationship between games, film, and television will continue to evolve, with hopes of one day breaking the video game curse.